David, hello, and
Hello, Freda.
congratulations on the film.
Thank you.
Thoroughly enjoyed being creeped out by it. It was really tense and atmospheric. I wondered what the inspiration was for it, because the circumstances that Beth, the central character, finds herself in actually gave it a very personal feel.
hmm Yeah, I mean, I think, look, to some degree or another, I think there's an exploration of depression and anxiety. I think we all know what that feels like. I think we all have some experience where that's concerned. Those are good anchor points for making a film like this because we can all have something to bring to it. And obviously, Rebecca Hall turns a really wonderful, all-encompassing performance here. But I think it's also the entire team. I mean, the production designer and the cinematographer were all relating to it some way or another. And so that's definitely something that we talked about a lot, that and grief in general.
I wondered how you describe it, because on one level you could take it as a ghost story, but on another level you could take it as a psychological horror that it's all sort of coming out of her grief, if you like. How would you describe it?
We had a joke on set when it came to multiple interpretations for the film, which was just the answer to everything was all of the above, or simply yes.
You could say that's a cop out.
I know. Not that we don't have to make decisions necessarily, but yeah, we did talk a lot about, look, on a very primitive level, I'm like, yeah, it's a horror story. It's a ghost story. This is a riff on haunted house. It's also a gothic romance. And then there's also a psychological angle to the entire thing. And that is an interpretation that you can take. It depends on where you draw the line between what is real and what is metaphorical. And to that, I say, yes, all of the above.
And you mentioned earlier Rebecca Hall's performance, and you're right. I mean, she's absolutely fantastic in the film. She's got very little dialogue, so a lot of it depends on her facial expressions. And actually, the film has this very sort of pared down feel. You've got a very small cast, you've got minimal dialogue. What made you take that approach?
Well, I think, look, credit is due. Ben Collins and Luke Petrowski, the script from the jump very much told the story of isolation, an isolated individual. It very environmental and atmospheric, a lot about the lake and the house and the world that was around her. I think that was part of the excitement for me. It was like, I want to do a story of one person in a house dealing with these psychological issues, and to really, really focus on, a singular character arc. I think that was the spirit of it from the beginning. But it also contributes to the loneliness of the film. We could have cut back to the marriage when things were good, and it was a very conscious decision to not do that, to simply feel the absence of that beat throughout the film.
And I believe you're now working on a reboot of a horror film from the mid-80s, which of course is Hellraiser. Mm-hmm. Why have you decided to go back to that story? And have you found your pinhead yet? That's the really important thing.
Oh yes, I mean, I can say very little about Hellraiser at this moment, except to say that, look, I'm a horror director, and there is probably nothing more exciting than the world that Clive Barker created in the original film in '87, and the universe that followed. I think the opportunity to open that up and go back into it, re-explore the box, I couldn't say no.